All right, welcome into Market Day Report. Good morning. And I've got a little bit of pep in my step today, folks, because if you looked at your screens, they're not broken. They're higher. It's been a long time since we've seen them look that good on the opening. So why don't we see how things have traded overnight, and I'll get you up to date on what I saw during the radio show, which was a little bit of a better one than it has been as of late. Look at this. What's going on in corn? We're up 6 cents. It feels like limit up, doesn't it? May corn up 6 1/4 cents overnight to 4.35. All right, so that's pretty good going. We got Dees up 4 1/2 cents to 4.65 1/2. The horses are off and running. We can't stop them now. Soybeans, look at this, 15 cents in March. Well, we're not going to talk about March because that's almost off the board, but 12 1/2 cents in May is good. 11.60 3/4. We'll take it, and a dime higher in Sep. Look at that, 11.54 3/4. Makes a guy kind of happy to do this job today. 5 1/4 cents higher in wheat, and this is one that saw all the hate selling the last few days. 5.36 1/4 in the May. Dees is at 5.76 even. That's up 5 3/4 cents too. So that's good. Let's go to the hard red in Kansas City. That was up 12 cents overnight. May 5.68 1/4. We have Dees 9 1/4 cents higher to 5.81 3/4. Right up against the highs of the session. All right, let's take a look at Minneapolis in the spring wheat, up a dime in that May contract to 6.55 1/4. You can go out to the Dees there. It's up 6 3/4 cents to 6.74 3/4. All right, finally, cotton. Well, that's going to be up 264 points, 272 actually. We got rid of the March up front. 98 evens last, 272 points higher. So that's some pretty good going there. So while we're in a good mood, let's bring on a good broker. That would be Brian Hoops. He's with Midwest Market Solutions. He's the president there. Brian, thanks for being on, brother. All right. I just want to sit here and stare at the screens. We don't even have to talk, right? We should just
right.
We should just have them all around me, and we should just smile, right? It should be, and play some nice music, like elevator music in the background. All right. Are we getting a little bit nervous before the report? Got a little bit short covering. I mean, that's all I got. I don't have any other stories. What do you got?
It is nice to walk into work and see the green on the screens in the morning from the overnight trade. It's kind of unusual, especially, like you said, hate selling in the wheat yesterday, but we noted corn closed higher despite all that selling in the wheat new contract lows, and that divergence I thought was very friendly and very telling for this corn market. And now I think you're starting to see some of the forecasts for northern Brazil starting to turn drier in that longer term time frame, and that is what is risking this market here. That's a major risk to the traders who are short, mostly these commodity funds, and we're seeing higher prices as a result as they buy back some of those shorts and take off some of that risk. So it may be because of Friday's report to a small extent, but I think it's that forecast for northern Brazil that's looking a little bit threatening. Argentina looks just near perfect, but where that corn crop has been planted in Mato Grosso, if a hot and dry forecast, it's going to impact that corn crop a great deal, and that's why we're seeing some short covering here.
And don't you think there's some sentiment out there too? I mean, you've been around a while. Everybody that wanted to be short, they got short, right? So there's no new sellers, right? I mean, if there's no new sellers, just by rule, any little buying is going to move the market a little bit better. I mean, that's kind of where I feel like we're at too. There's no news that's going to bring in a new seller, and if that's the case, then we end up just kind of squeezing a little bit better out, slowly but surely.
Right, and I completely agree with you. The only sellers out there right now is maybe the farmer moving some cash sales, the commercials who are already long selling back to the funds here now. Those are the sellers, but it's not the fund sellers. Now, if we rally into some major resistance, the forecast turns wetter, and we don't look like we have a major weather threat, maybe you'll see those funds start to sell this market again. But right now, they're kind of in this buy mode. You're starting to see technicals firm up, and they watch charts very closely, moving averages, trend lines, whatever you use to determine the direction of the market. I think you're changing that right now in this corn market. Obviously, we've put in a bottom, and the winter lows have been put in. Now you're starting to break that long-term downtrend and maybe starting to move to the uptrend. That's going to encourage more shorts and less selling, as you alluded to.
So, in my experience with our farm, the guys that put the stuff away, last fall, they don't put it away for a short term, generally speaking, right? Maybe they take out a little bit and use it like a bank when they need money, but they're looking for a decent move to the upside, right? Something that you might get towards the summer. So there's probably still a lot out there waiting for some sort of rally. What is that, a 20-cent rally or a 40-cent rally? I mean, where do you think we can kind of pry this loose from those guys that have put it away for a while?
Yeah, I don't think it's either one of those. I think the crop that's in storage at home, it's in pretty strong hands. It's not coming out until we get into the spring and summer months, and that's when we could have the biggest gains because of weather. And I think we're kind of locked in place until that time. Yeah, there's going to be a little bit of movement, maybe some basis contracts that turned into cash sales, or just kind of moving grain out of that bin, make sure it's still in good condition, kind of stirring things up, no mold or crust on anything. That maybe will get sold, but it's pretty minor compared to what's actually sitting there in storage facilities. And I don't think a 20, 30, 40 cent rally is going to be good enough. We're going to have to get back, getting closer to that $5 mark to really uncover a lot of these cash sales.
Yeah, you're probably $5. Yeah, and that's $5 cash. I'm pretty sure you're talking about too. It's not going to be on the board.
So, yeah.
All right, brother, stay right there. We're going to go away. We're going to pay some bills. We're going to come back and talk more with Brian Hoops. He's in Springfield, Missouri. We'll be right back after this. All right, how about we, welcome back, first of all, and how about we remind you of what we did in the cattle markets yesterday. That's what it is for me, a little reminder. I sat here all day and watched it just trickle a little lower. Nothing really big going on there, but we'll start with live cattle. That closed a little easier across the board, 75 cents lower in the April to 187.25. When you go out to the East, that's down 22 cents to 189.27. So that's what we had going on there. Be anywhere between 22 cents lower to 75 cents lower, but not a lot going on. If we take a look at the feeders, they too were lower by a little bit more, though. We had an April board down $1.30 to 255.87, and if you go out to the SEP, we were down 70 cents to 269.60. So there you go. It's 70 cents down to about $130 off that prices there. So we're anywhere between 255 and 269. When you look at what the feeders have got in store for us as far as price goes. All right. And then finally, no great shakes, though. Let's take a look at lean hogs. They, too, had a little bit of a hard time rallying. They were down 17 cents in the April to 85 even, but that was only 20 cents off the high of the day, so we kind of spent most of the day on the downside. And then you go out to the August, that was down 57 cents yesterday to 101.45. And let's bring back in our guest analyst, who has been so patiently waiting in the wings. Let's talk to Brian Hoops about what he thinks is going to happen today in the livestock. What do you think? Anything jump out at you?
Yeah, the exports that were out this morning, for the grains were pretty much routine and probably would be pretty much ignored. Same thing in the cattle market. Export sales this morning, about 14 million tons, right in line with what we have seen in the last several weeks. Pork were a little bit better, however, and that could give us, I think, a little bit of a bounce. We've been down in the hogs 3 consecutive sessions and trying to find some reason to rally. Maybe that's enough of a reason to get us to bounce here, as China was a pretty good buyer of U.S. pork last week. I think the cattle market's kind of dialed in at least $1 higher cash trade already, looking for at least 184. And until we see some cash movement, we're likely to see just very choppy cattle futures. Very low volume yesterday. They're probably going to continue. Yeah.
That was going to be my question. I don't see the volumes. I can just see the change on day. We got about 10 seconds, but I mean, it doesn't seem to me, by just looking at the price action, that there has been a ton of volume in either hogs or cattle. Am I right there?
Yep. Yeah, very slow day yesterday. Very low open interest and volume traded.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see if we can get something going there today. I appreciate you coming on. Great stuff as usual, Brian. Brian Hoops. He's with Midwest Market Solutions in Springfield, Missouri.
What a way to start the day.
I got it going. Hey, now I'm in a good mood.
Not even open yet, but yeah.
I'm going to be clicking my heels out of here today. It's awesome.
I hadn't seen you smile that big in a long time.